If you want to make money with AI, you need to stop automating and start building AI operating systems that make tens of thousands of dollars. If it sounds too technical, it isn't. I'm not a coder, and yet I've made a gazillion dollars from it. And these are the exact same principles that I used to build, scale, and sell my last automation startup. And so in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how you can build a profitable AI system to get you to 0 to 100K using very simple tools as a complete beginner, including Bolt, N8N, Make. But I have to first start by explaining what an AI operating system is. So typically speaking, the first thing that it does is solves a problem. Typically speaking, those problems are either leads. In other words, we don't have enough people clicking on our thing, or we're not having enough conversations. And then we've got sales, which is we're having the conversations, but we're just not selling enough. It could be delivery of the thing. People aren't happy with it. Your churn's really high. And it could be profit, which is all those things are working, but I just don't seem to make enough money. So when we talk about AI operating systems, they exist to solve a business, capital P, problem. That is the key and most important thing right here. And as you can see with this image, loads of red graphs, we want to be solving problems. They exist to solve a business problem, not the other way around. And these AI operating systems can be anything. If you look at the dashboard like this, as a for instance, you could have something where you have user accounts. Now, this could do any number of things. That I've personally spent over $10,000 on products with kind of dashboards like this that are nowhere near as good as what I'm going to show you in this video as an operating system and how we can connect it to AI to literally blow the roof off. But just to give you an example, you could have something where people basically create an account, they save their information, and this could be you. Let's say you're creating posts on Instagram, LinkedIn. We could say, great, who's your avatar? What's your background? What's your experience? What's your proof? Who do you serve? What are your niches, painful problems, blah, blah, blah. And you save this stuff, you have your own account, and then you can actually create bespoke LinkedIn posts using all that hard-coded data. There are a million examples of what these operating systems can do. They can be social media dashboards that show you the specific numbers for everything. If you can literally imagine it, you can build an operating system around it. If you want to have macro access and look at this stuff for yourself, it's dead straightforward for you to do, which is really cool. Secondly, it will usually include one of the Power 4. So we call this the Automation Power Cube. Essentially, we have some description of AI. It could be Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever it is. It's this brain, and we can flex that based on the requirements. I'm going to show you some really interesting methodologies for delivering these automation systems that you may not have heard of before in this video. We have an automation platform, so it could be N8N, could be Make.com. This just lets us connect things to other things. It's kind of like Willy Wonka's Emporium in that sense. And then we've got some kind of, as you can see here, dashboard, right? We've got some kind of database. So this could be where we're actually store our data if we're getting users, or we want to have like the number of Instagram followers, LinkedIn followers, data, anything to do with data. We have that. And then we've got a front end. So that could be Bolt, Lovable, Softer, something like that. Something visual that you can actually physically engage with. And the third concept here that it usually has is what we call Sandcastle. So this is probably the most important thing. This is really boring. This is not flashy. But this is the stuff that works, and that's what we're all about here, right? When we talk about Sandcastles, what I mean is you can automate anything. But when we think about building profitable operating systems, it is way easier to make so much more money to take something that is already working, something that is already profitable, and then we build a system around it to systematize the thing so it can continue to grow up in this direction. The biggest mistake I see 99% of people making is that you automate something that just should simply not exist. You don't need automated content until you've got a content strategy that is crushing it. Now, to build our profitable AI operating system, we're going to use the STAND framework. So we start with the structure of what we want our dashboard to look like. Table, connecting it to a database so we can get information. Authentication, that's stuff like the logins, the credentials, how people sign in, what that looks like. No-code automation, so connecting it to N8N or Make.com. And D stands for design. And my last tech startup that I solved, I always got complimented on the design and the feel and the experience. It is so underutilized and so important. But what we build, the operating system that we build, and no one's telling you this, is way more important than how we actually build it. And this is the framework that I use to make these decisions, and I've helped thousands of business owners do this now and scaled multiple businesses. And it's what we call the theory of constraints or the constraining factor. When you're looking at what it is that you're building or what you're selling or what you want to attack in your own business, this is how I decide what operating systems to build. Now, when you're looking at everything to do, like I need to do lead gen, I need to sort my website out, I need to grow on LinkedIn, I need to do Insta, whatever the thing is, we believe that we have what we call this theory of 1,000 doors, 1,000 things that I need to do and walk through. In reality, you have 4. And again, like I say, it's leads, getting the clicks, it's sales, converting those clicks, it's delivery, which is improving the product, making sure our churn is low, making sure people are actually enjoying it and referring us, and then profit, which is I'm not making enough. So what we have to ask ourselves here is, what is the largest constraining factor of my business? Like, what is the thing that if I just solved that thing would have what we call a 10x event? Okay? And what we effectively do is identify what that thing is, and then we ruthlessly and mercilessly attack that one vertical to get it to be as profitable as humanly possible. I shared a video last week about how I sold an automation for literally tens of thousands of pounds that lasted years. That worked because I picked something that was already profitable and I just made it slightly more profitable. So we have to identify which of these 4 things is holding you back, and then we want to build the operating system around that. Practically, how we do that is this. We start off with the start. And I know this isn't a technical bit, guys, but I make this video for you to win. And if I don't cover this stuff about how you actually think through the stuff, I'm not doing you a service, because this is exactly the stuff you need to think about to win the stuff. So we have the start, which is, we've identified the constraining factor, which, for example, could be, hey, I'm not getting enough conversions. Okay, cool. So we start off with the start, which is an individual lands on our landing page, or they're watching our content, or they're viewing our product or offering. And then what we have here is the D. Not that kind of D. This D here is a desired state, the end result that we want, which is people buying the thing and loving it and having a great time. And effectively what we need to then do is track out the ideal customer journey every single place in between that. So you could have, for example, they do this, and then they do this, and they're seeing the page, and then they're clicking this, and then they're doing this, and then they're doing this. You basically identify every single touch point. In reality, that could be, well, we to get an email. Okay, awesome. Well, what other kind of communication strategies are we having? And effectively, you map this out sequentially for your desired state. Okay? And then what we do is build an AI operating system to support and deliver against this entire thing here. And all we do is step by step is just build these things and execute them. And a quick little hack for you here, by the way, is to actually walk through the entire business step by step from click to close, and then actually when you get that full picture, you can really start to understand where the constraining factors are. So the first part of the framework is S, which stands for structure. Now what we're going to be doing is be using a no-code digital app builder like Bolt.new or Lovable. Basically, lets us take text and turns that into fully blown, cool, badass applications. Now, what we're actually going to build in this video is going to be a social growth system. So I want to create a dashboard where I can hard code all my information, my niche, who I target, my personal experience, my proof, and then I want it to be able to have on the left-hand side tabs, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and use that to generate super high quality viral posts. So to do that, I'm going to give it the following prompt, and put this prompt down below in the description for you, so you can just copy it, paste it in there, and rock and roll. And by the way, if you want to learn the latest AI, incredible AI automations and the stuff that actually works, you can check out the community down below in the description. We've got everything I post that I don't even include on YouTube in the community. If you don't like winning, don't join. That's all I say. It is really freaking cool. We've got everything to get you from zero to hero. Have to mention that because I put so many materials out here on these AI automation systems and dashboards, and it's so freaking epic and incredible. Now, what we do, now we've got this thing of, if we fire it off to Bolt, don't worry about this URL for now. So we want to kind of lock down the basic infrastructure. Now, when you're building with Bolt and you want to, or Lovable, and you want to have a login screen, that is completely cool. But what we want to do first of all is get the actual structure nailed down, and then we'll add that later on after we've done that. Now, whilst this is building, guys, I want to go ahead and build our table, and then we're going to connect this after. So to do this, I want you to go over to Supabase. Now, when you think of Supabase, I just want you to think of Excel that's a little bit grown up and is on steroids. So as you know, I competed in NA10's first ever AI agent competition. There'll be some B-roll on screen of me doing this. And one of the key things I did with my RAG system was use Supabase. RAG just being a fancy word for getting information and memory for AI. So come over to Supabase, and I want you to create an account here. Once you've done that, you're going to sign in or log in based on what you've got. So let's grab this right now. And what you'll see once you sign up is this section here. You will click on new project, but it'll prompt you to do this, and you can do this completely for free. All the default information is fine. Just add a random name, call this growth or whatever you like so, give it a strong database password, and I want you to save that for me if you don't mind, because we're going to use that shortly, and then click on create a brand new project. I have already done this, so we're going to use this growth one here, and we click on it, and then this is the cool dashboard interface that we're going to use to do literally anything and able to do things you didn't even imagine. Now we've created this, I want to come back over here to Bolt, okay? And let's have a quick look at what I've got so far. So we have Welcome to Growth Systems. We have got a YouTube link here. We've got some different information here. And then Foundations on the left is decent. Now what's really freaking cool here is we have this proof bar. So I can say, hey, here is proof. Beautiful. Save progress, go to niche. And you can just say blah, 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 and we'll just say, what I'm actually gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna save all this stuff so we know what each question does, and then we've got transformation. And what's really cool here, guys, is that anytime we get the AI to create posts for us, effectively what we can do here is just get this to fire off, right? There you go. Okay, sweet. And then save progress. Now, every time we create a post, we don't need to keep on giving it more and more context. This is context engineering. Then we've got the profile, so we can create an image, give our name. So, hey, this is Jack Roberts. I'm going to upload a nice little photo. All right, cool. I've uploaded the photo of me in my N10 journey looking off to the side like I'm wondering what's going on, which is cool. And then we've got LinkedIn, which is decent. So we've got this thing here, and we have these 3 different sections we can do. Now, I don't like this design, but guys, I have to hold myself back. We're not at the D section yet. We're at the S, and obviously we've got the 2 structures. So this is, I think, absolutely fine for the time being. This would be like if you're having people create accounts in your new dashboard system, we can just have them watch like an intro video of how it works, and then we can scale this up. And by the way, if you're a business owner that is looking to accelerate your business, you're kind of trying to go from here to here, we've built out this system for our accelerator, where basically we have all the operating systems that I use in my business. We've got a wait list, just open it up. You can click down below to apply for that if you want to kind of accelerate where you're at in your business. You can check that out. We've had some freaking incredible and really, really sick ass results. Now we've done this, I'm gonna sort of like zoom out for a second. This is cool. What I kind of want to do now in the chat interface is come over to the LinkedIn section. I'm gonna give it this follow-up command now, which is basically this. And then what we actually need to do, guys, is start connecting this to Supabase. So you want to do 2 very quick things. First of all, I want to do is just change this chat interface. So I want to head over to this website here. I'm gonna put a link down below, which is this beautiful chat interface. You can interact with it. It's gorgeous. Now, the cool thing we can do is give it the code. So I want to come over to Bolt. I want to say, I would like you to do 2 things. Number 1 is remove one of the briefcase emojis from LinkedIn. The second is to upgrade the chat interface with the below code, please. And then if I click post type, personal story, lead magnet, or social, I would like you to simply output the information personal story, lead magnet, or social into the chat interface, please. Okay, beautiful. So we give it this prompt, and then we're just going to give it code. So we're going to give it this code, which is fantastic. And then we are going to come over and give it this code. And then the next step we're going to do, guys, is basically connect it now to the database. So, but let me just bring this one over here real quick. Beautiful. Hit enter. Let it make those changes, and then we can do everything we need to. And beautiful, just like that, we've got the LinkedIn agent. I can say, hey, it's now thinking, and it's bringing it down. That is really cool. So what we want to do basically is now connect it to Supabase. To do that, we're going to click on integrations over here and just click on Supabase. Beautiful. Ask it to select a project. We're going to select growth, because one thing we're about, guys, is big and beautiful growth. So this loads for us in the background, which is great. And let's just give it some access. Great. We're going to come down and we just select the organization here, which is this one. I'm going to click on authorize Bolt to say, hey, Bolt, we are happy for you to come in and access our stuff on Supabase. Then, guys, you'll start to see a screen that looks a little bit something like this. Do you know what's really interesting in my last tech startup is I wasn't coding background. I don't have any coding experience whatsoever. This is kind of where we get to now with these tools that you can just do this stuff. So growth is cool. That's fantastic. We're connected. Beautiful. Connect project. Then it'll be set up and done. So what we kind of want to do now, guys, is add in a login system. And we want to be really specific about the information. I want to store 2 separate things here. And I'll yap it out. What I'd now like you to do is add in a login section, but I'd like you to store 2 pieces of information. One obviously is their username, password, whatever in the Supabase database. But the second thing I want you to do now is in their foundation section is create a new table that has all of that information stored in. So that's hard-coded in our Supabase. Thank you. Bam, we put that one in there, let that roll off. Now, the reason I'm doing this, guys, is actually, now the way architecturally we're gonna send this off, because if you can get this into N8N or make.com, and I'm gonna show you both of those things, you can effectively do anything that you want to. I've seen some people say that we don't need make.com, we don't need N8N. It's not true. Absolutely, you want these things. You can build automations with Claude Code, you can build automation, which is a layer below this. It gives you slightly more kind of editing access. But fundamentally, you want the configurability, you want to be able to troubleshoot quickly. It's not, can it do it? The question is, what is the most efficient way for me to do it right now? To be honest with you, using these dashboards and platforms are super epic like that. So I kind of want to have all this information stored in Supabase, which I'll show you in a second. And I've done a full guide of this in the community, but you got things like SQL editor. Like, what the hell does that mean? SQL, like, I always say instead of speaking, French or English or Japanese, tables speak SQL. You can actually give ChatGPT a message that says, look, write me some SQL that will do X. And it will create tables, find functions, do a million different things. It can look intimidating at first glance. It's actually dead straightforward. And if you just follow this stuff step by step, you will 100% crush it and pick it up. Honestly, it is not as complicated as it seems. So now we've got this cool thing. Do we want to sign in? Do we want to sign up? I love it. Now, here's the really cool thing I want you to do now is head over to Supabase, and I want you to come down on the left-hand side to Authentication as I tried to find this stuff. So what we can do with this now is what Supabase will do for us is kind of manage all the kind of nonsense, like the email sign up and the welcome emails and this sort of stuff. Actually, guys, if you click on sign in providers, I want you to come down here and remove confirm email. And do you know there's websites where you can sign up with Google? Such a blessing, right? You can control all that stuff, like sign up with all these different crazy things. It's super duper possible. So I want you to remove this confirm email just while we're testing it. It just means we don't have to keep zipping over to our email to get this stuff working. So if I come back over now to our beautiful Vault dashboard, we've got it set up. So why don't we, as if for instance now, this is done. Okay, so please review the proposed changes and apply them to database. We click on apply changes, which is cool. Let that work for us in the background. So Bolt, Livable, these guys are doing the hard work in the back end to connect it to the database, which makes it as hands-off as possible. So let's sign up, shall we? If I click sign up, we'll enter a username. We'll call it Jack with loads of A's. Actually, let's just call it Jack for simplicity. You can call me Jackie Boy. And an email, let's just go with my actual email, and then let's just go for this as a password. And then click on create an account. Failed to fetch, let's have a look at what the issue was. What is the problem? Let's attempt the fix real quick. This, by the way, is a completely normal part of building, and I include these errors in there to show you now it doesn't just work flawlessly first time, but therein lies a bit the opportunity because you have to actually think about what's going on here. So we'll just let Bolt resolve this problem. Beautiful, and now that's updated, we can try this one again. To come to sign up, I'm gonna go for Jack. Display name can be Jack. Email, let's go for my email here. And let's come over and create account beautifully. And we'll know this works because if I head over to Supabase, I will be able to see it. So I come over to Authentication, and what you want to do is on the left, click on Authentication. We can then refresh this table here, for example, and then we should see display name Jack, email Jack, at AI automation to Jack, and as you can see, bam, it's that. Now let's just say that this guy here, Kurg, we don't like this guy. This guy's coming to our system, he's using all our cool stuff, and he says, dude, I don't want to pay you no more, I'm out of here. Well, what you can do, we can set up automations for this, obviously. We can simply come down here, and we delete. And he's gone, and he's out of here, he's finished. So we can actually remove anything or anyone from database really easily, actually, so they wouldn't have access, which is cool. So we come back over and we set up, which is cool. So what I think we should do is publish number one. So let's just publish this real quick. Give this a hot second. Okay, now we're gonna publish it. I'm gonna open it in a new tab, and what we're gonna do together is validate that it's gonna save all of my core information, which is cool, and then we want to the next step. Okay, so what we do, guys, is we click this little button here, and it opens up the growth system dashboard. So we wanna sign in, don't we? So let's do that. And we have this email, and so if this works, it will physically get us in. Signing us in, is it working? Let's have a quick look to see if it gets us access. And obviously, this is how we know that it works. Now, once we've done that, the next thing I wanted to do is come over to the foundation section, and we're gonna add in all of the key information, okay? So let's come over to foundations real quick, and we can add in proof. So users just signed in. Now we wanna get them to enter this information. So let's come down here, enter this. Beautiful, come down to niche. And the reason I'm doing this, by the way, guys, is just because I'm gonna now send this over to N8M, and when I do that, I wanna know which one is which. So let's just have this key information here, transformation, beautiful, how do you deliver that information, boom, that transformation, fantastic, and then journey. Great, so if I come down and say progress, we're now at 100%, changes have been saved, which is cool. Come over to proof, everything is there, so this is now hard-coded into their database. So let's head over then to our database and have a look if we've got that information saved in Supabase. So I've come on this, let's have a look, we've got foundations. Look at this, guys. If I click on this, I think we come down to tables view is what we need to do. And then when you're here, guys, click on foundations data. So basically this is all it works is like any table you want to save, it will create a new table view here. So one could be profile information, another one could be client success stories. We can create infinite numbers of tables essentially, which is code for cool. I almost realized my mic was so far away. How crazy is that? Cool, so we've got all this different information. So what we do in user profiles is come over here and click on view in table editor. So once you've opened this up, guys, we've got my name, photo, I haven't added yet, and when it was created. But look, if you click on clap sidebar and you click on foundations data, it should, and look at this, guys. Avatar, who's your avatar? And you can see this has got all of the key information. So this is now stored there. So if you want to have macro access and look at this stuff for yourself, it's dead straightforward for you to do, which is really cool. And now we've crushed the authentication. So we've done STA. The next one is what we call step number 4, which is no code automation. And that is how we now connect this incredible growth system to N8N and Make.com. And I'm going to show you exactly how you do both. So the first thing that we need to do, okay, is come over and we need to go over to, I'm going to show you 2 websites. You can pick one of these. We've got in the community full guides on going 0 to hero in both of them, just because they're slightly different. Now, Make is more beginner friendly. N8N probably has, well, certainly has more kind of capability in terms of what you can do when you get started. So this is Make.com. Come over here, let's log in. What always made me chuckle, actually, in the classroom, when I went deep on the artwork, we had this like Make versus N8N kind of like duel, these two like the ninjas that were fighting each other, which I thought was really cool. So what we're going to do, guys, in N8N, so you can do both if you follow along with this, is we're going to add a webhook, which just lets us grab stuff and move stuff somewhere else. And I pulled this one here, guys, to show an example of how this can actually look. So you have like a webhook, an agent that does stuff, and then multiple different sub-agents that can go forth and do things, and you're optimizing for speed, because one of the key concepts that I really want to land here with you, and this is from like a client workflow here, is that basically, if you think about it like this, like the most AI agents are like 200 IQ interns. They're freaking geniuses. But my gosh, if you're not specific, you won't get the stuff. So what you do is you have an agent that almost decides structurally the kind of manager, and his job is to pick from his 8 super intelligent sub-employees what specific task you want to do, okay? And then I'm also going to touch on here what we call deterministic flows. There's a couple of things I want to double click in to make sure that you crush it with your workflows. So look, I just want to show that as an example, right? But then if I come over here and grab a webhook, because the key bit that we really need to touch on is how do we make this quick and how do we make the performance super duper high? So if I click on add a step here, I'm going to come over to webhook and add this here, right? And you're going to see this stuff here. You change that to post, and all you're going to do is click it to copy it. That's all you do. And then you come back over then to bolt.new, and you're going to say, hey, every time you send a message in the chat window for LinkedIn, I would like you to send it to this webhook. That's all. And then you're going to do, guys, is just enter in that webhook. And then if I come over to Make.com, it's the exact same thing. I come over, I just go for webhook like so. And when this loads up, because I'm in a new country right now, my internet is struggling to say the least. So if I'm in like, you know, like pixels, if I'm like 18 pixels, you'll understand why. And what we're going to do is come down here to custom webhook. And then we'll see this thing here. You click on it, you just add a new hook. So we can call this one, for example, Bolt. Always good to actually name it. Obviously, it's really good that you can have authentication keys. So basically, if someone did manage to get into your system, which they shouldn't do because of the way we set it up, you could then actually have like an API key which validates that, which is really, really cool. So we save that, and that'll give you a webhook then, right? And all you do, guys, is literally copy it like so. Copy address to clipboard, and then instead of the N8N one, you just give it the Make one. So I've come back over to this. And has that completed it? It has, cool. So what we do is just refresh this, for instance, and what we now need to do is the connection part, right? Is we need to validate that it can connect to the no-code section, which is cool. Here's this big, beautiful video. That's a great video if you haven't seen that, by the way. I highly recommend it. I'll come over to LinkedIn, and we've got this chat thing. Now, I want to make the design look better, obviously, but not. So I just say, hey, test, 1, 2, 3. And what I want to do, if I'm using N8N, we're going to click here to execute workflow, okay? And then in Make.com, it will automatically listen. It's listening for a test event, and you know that because it's rotating here, okay? So you come back over, we come to our growth system, and we just hit send. Now if we come here, we're waiting for this to be executed. Now that hasn't happened, I think, and it hasn't happened because what we need to do is just reset this real quick, okay? So we come over here and refresh the page, come down to foundations, onto profile, on LinkedIn, excuse me, and I'll put test. And let me just give a profile real quick as well. Okay, so it's still not come through yet. So I'm just going to copy this, go back over to Bolt and say, hey, this is a post request. It needs to go to this webhook. To be clear, this is when you send a message on the LinkedIn tab in that chat. Cool. And then we paste the information there. Bam, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Fantastic. So that's now getting updated for us. And what I'm also going to do, guys, is just add a little profile photo. Come down here, let's add this guy in. Beautiful, I've loaded it, and I should appear magically now as this loads up. And let's come back over to Bolt super quick. Okay, great, that's finished. And there I am, ready to kick some butt. This is cool. And I like the photos personally because I think personalization is a big thing. I found that in my last business as well. Like personalization for people and their profiles makes a freaking killer difference. Okay, so it looks like Bolt has done some cool stuff. So let's make sure that N8N is still searching for what it is. Come back over, come down to LinkedIn, and I could say something like yo, 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 send that one off, beautiful. And then we come over to N8N and see if this is connected. And it has. Cool. So let's just show the data, which is code for really cool freaking news. And guys, look at this. We have everything here. So I'm really keen to see now, has it brought through everything? If I come down to JSON, cool. And let's have a look at what we've got. We've got the photo. Do you know, guys, I think the photo is what's causing quite a lot of data. So let me come back and just change that real quick. Hey there, dude, no need to send over the photo when you send the information over, thank you. Because I think that's what's not doing it. The reason why this didn't work, by the way, is because I didn't hit the classic publish. You have to do that to update it so it works in different applications, which is cool. So now if I come here and I just publish this, update it, give that a hot moment, give that a beautiful second to figure out, and that worked for us fantastically. And then we can refresh our second window and do this, which is cool. Cool, so now we've done that, I'm gonna come over here and refresh it, come off this, and we are going to execute workflow. We're gonna come back over then to Bolt, on his system here, and I'm gonna say yo, 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 send that one off, and we get a response that it's worked. As you can see, everything's come through, and we've got all the data. So the question is, has it sent through everything? And guys, look at this, proof. What are your three things? Avatar, pain points, designs. It has literally pulled through every single piece of information, which is crazy. Now, this is the bit where I have to show you a core concept here, okay? Because it's easy to get to 80%, but if you want to get to 97, 98%, where you can actually build this to be profitable, you've got to know how to flow it. So this is where we decide whether we create an agent, okay, like this, okay, that itself has many sub-agents, like I showed you in that previous workflow here, okay, where it has like a bazillion of these guys, okay? You know, you may ask the same question twice and get completely different results, or we want to hard code it to the thing that we want. So for example, let's say that we send all the information to this webhook, right? And actually what we have, right, is LinkedIn, we have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have TikTok, we have all those things. What we would probably want to do is add a router. So basically we'd have this agent here would be for LinkedIn. Cool. And then what we do is have a whole new system here, which is for YouTube. But obviously we'd have like a module in between that would basically just be a set node, like so. Okay, and then we would add a filter node in, which basically filters out, gives you a specific one, and goes down a completely different route based on that. So that's how we could actually build this out to be something really different and specific. Probably a classify node could also work for us here, but effectively we just branch this out. And so everything comes through to the same webhook, and then it goes down either to the LinkedIn system, the YouTube system, the Instagram system, whichever system that we would like. And crucially, what I would also add to that, guys, is we want one for each platform, but then we also want what I would call kind of like a general knowledge one. And this is the interesting thing about there's so many different ways you can set this up architecturally to make sure that it crushes it. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to run with the LinkedIn one, okay? So I'm going to come down here. I've got the agent, which is beautiful. Let's bring him over here real quick. We're going to connect him up. We're going to give him a chat model, which is cool. I'm going to go for, let's just go for OpenAI real quick, which is fantastic. If you haven't connected that, by the way, just come over here to platform.openai.com. And then guys, on the left-hand side, you see API keys. Just click on create new key, call that blah, 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 whatever you want to, create secret key. And then you'll see the code. You just copy that code. You come over to N8N or make.com, and effectively, once you click on this, you click on this, click on create new credential, enter your API key in there, and then you're going to be ready to rock and roll. And on make.com, it's the exact same thing. I'll just show you real quick. If I go for ChatGPT, beautiful. Where is our beautiful ChatGPT? And you want to go and create a completion, which is a chat completion, ace, and then you can add your connection here. For example, your API key. Leave your organization ID blank. If you haven't done that, click save. And now you're literally connected into this entire thing. Now in make.com, the filters can be exactly the same. You can actually add in these beautiful filters. So let me come off here real quick. We can right click and unlink. We come down here and we can add in a filter. I personally, guys, prefer to have workflows. We have like filtration, guys, and it just saves it and keeps it clean and crisp in one workflow. There's no reason why this would need to be 17 different workflows. I like one system, one workflow is my general rule here. So you can set up here, I believe it's a router, which is cool. And then we can set up different things. So we can say this route here will be LinkedIn, this is Instagram, and we have something that's actually splitting those things out for us. You can also use make.com's AI tools, which will, basically the AI will look at the message and the AI will make a judgment call on that particular thing. All right, cool. So let's come back over then to our beautiful scenario right here, and we've got that set up. Now, if I come over to our growth system, effectively what we want to think about here, if we're looking at LinkedIn, for example, which is something that I'm focusing on at the moment, my main priority is YouTube, but one of the things that we would think about here is, let's say there's 3 different types of LinkedIn posts that we could make, like a personal story, something to do with the lead magnet, and something to do with social. What we effectively want to do here in the scenario is give this agent a really, really, really cool prompt. And we want to give it maybe sub-agents that it could then call and classify. But before we do that, guys, we need to set the data. So this basically is going to give us some hard-code data in a scenario that we can use. So I'm going to come down here and click on pin. I'm going to add a new thing here, and I'm going to use the set node here, which is fantastic. And then we're just going to map over all the information, okay? So let's have a quick look. And really simply, we're going to map over the proof, and we'll just call this one proof, right? And then we go over to avatar, and what do we call that one? You might have guessed it, avatar. Right, so I'll skip past this so you don't have to watch it all. All right, guys, that is done. But the last thing we want to do down here is add in the message here. What we could also do, by the way, is based on their chat history, add certain information about the kind of questions they're asking. Again, all this stuff is possible and really freaking cool. So we've got all that stuff done, which is awesome. So let's just give this one a quick test real quick. Let me hit the little play button, which is decent. Nice, and then we click pin. By the way, I'm gonna go on N10's YouTube channel next week to record the most powerful RAG system the world has never seen. So we've got this stuff over here, which is cool. Now, kind of what we want to do is give this AI agent a prompt. Now, there's many ways you can set this up. I'm going to show you a very simple way, and obviously we're going to more complex things, workshops and stuff, but this one here, I'm just going to have it to be a routing agent for us. So let's give him a beautiful prompt. I'm going to double click into him. I'm going to come down here. The prompt itself, guys, let's just, instead of connect to chat trigger node, define below, and then we come over here to message. There you go. Beautiful. Okay, fantastic. And let me just make sure the edit fields thing is done correctly, because I'm seeing some pretty funky information coming down here. Yeah, string, that's absolutely fine. Okay, beautiful, cool. Now, what I wanted to do is, we've given it this information. We're gonna come down here, give it a system message, which is basically the cool thing here. And let's give it the following prompt. Okay, right down here, boom. Give it as an expression. Come down here and put it right here. Beautiful. So the prompt, personal sub agents available, personal story agent, what it does, lead magnet agent, what it does, social post agent, what it does, general knowledge agent. So we're going to have 3 that do the post, and then 1 that's like this general knowledge brainiac. And then we've got content requirements, so route the appropriate content creation sub agent, all its interesting things, and what we want it to do. Then we're going to give it user context. So what we're going to do is come down here and give it all of the frickin' information, which is really cool. So we've got proof, we've got avatar, we've got pain points, and I'll just skip this real quick. Cool, so that's done. Now we've got the information, which is cool, and then the actual prompt message is there, which is freaking decent. So next thing to do is build out the NA10 nodes. So we come down here to agent tool, and again, what we're going to do is give them the specific names. So what did we say we were going to call them? Sub-agent, personal story, lead magnet. So let's come down here. Now, personal story agent. Cool, all right, and then click on define the prompt. That's really freaking cool. And then we just want to give them a name, just like so, so we know exactly which one does which, and we call this again personal story agent. Okay, beautiful, sweet. I like having emojis. N10 doesn't like that. If I could have one request, it'd be to let me beautify some of these guys. All right, so we do this one, and then let's just duplicate this guy, and we're going to want 4 of these guys coming in, which is decent. And what's cool about, I guess, having the agent swarm underneath is the fact that if actually it's a general knowledge question plus something else, it can actually call multiple ones at the same time. So your parallel tool calls is really where this shines. So we've got the personal agent, then we've got the lead magnet one. So let's come down here and rename this one. Lead magnet. What's an example of a good lead magnet? Okay, let me actually show you, because again, this is all about winning, right? This is all we want. So come down to LinkedIn. So if I show you on my LinkedIn profile real quick, let's have a look at my post. You might even see this actually. Okay, this one I posted yesterday, I think, or the day before. This is an example of a LinkedIn post. By the way, copy this, literally steal this copy. So say, looking to build automation and grow your business, you're missing out on 100 opportunities, systems, blah, 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 blah. And I said, look, DM, comment systems, and I'll send it you over, right? So the idea is that, like, you set this thing up. We had a masterclass in a group from someone who got 0 to like 80K on LinkedIn. They did 40, 50K a month just on LinkedIn, and they showed it step by step in the masterclasses in the community. And one of his big things is you find posts that work, and then you adapt it for your thing. So this is a good example of a lead magnet thing. I'm like, look, it's all yours for free. Just comment systems, and look at the number of comments. Like, we've got like 78 comments and reposts and stuff. It's really, really, really cool. And then I just send them a lead magnet, and then my job basically is to create content like this every day using my system, the system that I use, and this just comes out on autopilot for me. And all I do is think of the cool lead magnet. So you can see how this is freaking crazy. And guys, I wasn't big on LinkedIn. Like, I literally started this. We had someone posting, but like, literally speaking, like, I've only started looking at LinkedIn properly the last two or 3 weeks, and like, you know, It's not a million, but it's really cool how this is starting to take off and kick butt with this strategy. So this is just systematizing something that works, and I want you to steal that, so you can do it too. So we've got lead magnet, which is cool. Let's just make sure we explain what this is. This is lead magnet agent. And the other thing I've noticed works really well on LinkedIn are like these personal stories, like sentimental things like that. And then the final two are going to be social post and general knowledge. So social post could be here, which is cool. Social post agent, and let's just name this guy social post agent. Beautiful, social post agent. And then lastly, we would have general knowledge. And then what we do with general knowledge, guys, is we would give him a RAG database. Beautiful right there. And to show you what like an amazing RAG database system looks like, this is it. I literally spent so much time on RAG. I was saying RAG in my sleep, guys. Honestly, it was crazy. But this is exactly the kind of thing that we do, how we vectorize with a very powerful vectorization model, how we retrieve it, how we actually have re-ranking agents, guys, that basically take the question, you ask it, and make that question 50 times better. If you're thinking, what the hell does all this mean? I'm going to put a link on screen right now for you to check this out. This is something I just shared recently about the ultimate RAG system. It is really freaking cool how this works, and the performance increase is insane. So essentially what we would do is give it all of this stuff for the general knowledge agent. That's basically what we do. This agent would have access to all this sort of stuff here. You can bring that in and kick some ass. So look, if I even come over to our scenario right here and paste this in, what we would do very simply is have this tool, beautiful, and then this tool here. How freaking cool is that? So freaking cool. I love this stuff. Right, so we've got this stuff here, decent. Now all we do is give it a chat model. You can, if you want to, or give it the same chat model. It's a little hack. It kind of makes the workflow look like, you know, some kind of crazy spider, but if you wanted to be efficient over design, you could do that, and you can see it all moves around a little bit. All right, cool. Now what I want to do next is add in the webhook to complete the flow. So I come over here and we'll put respond to webhook, which is cool. First incoming item is fine. Then we need to close the loop by clicking on this, and we need to change this to, instead of respond immediately, respond using the respond to webhook node. Beautiful. Now we're ready to rock and roll. So for purpose of demonstrating how cool and epic this works, we're just going to go for let's go for the lead magnet one. And to do this, I'm going to zip over to the community, and I'm going to come over down to every AI automation. And I'm going to grab our LinkedIn prompt that I've seen work beautifully. So if I come down here to assets, I think it's under LinkedIn. Okay, fantastic. And then let's grab this agent. All right, beautiful. And then I'm going to copy all of this information here, which is all the best practices and stuff. And then we come over to our system, and let's give a personal story agent. Obviously, I've got one of these systems built out that's got it's built perfectly. I'm just showing you this kind of step by step so you can get it. So we don't want personal story. We want the lead magnet agent, right? Beautiful. Description's there. Then what we want to do is come down here to system message real quick, and then we're going to give it a prompt that sounds a little bit something like this. Let me full screen this a second. You'll be given information from a user about their niche, their background, and lots of other information, as well as a question, and to create a beautiful lead magnet system. You would use the best practices below to build for them an incredible, compelling LinkedIn post using the information below that is going to be specific for them. You want to include information like their story, their background, to make it as emotive as possible based on the information we've got down below. Okay, beautiful. There will be a CTA to create something. This will be something that you need to include at the bottom of the LinkedIn post. Cool, and then we're going to enter all this information here, which is fantastic. And essentially, guys, what you want to do is just stack it with loads of really good high quality stuff. So for example, if you see a post that's just getting loads of comments, use that as a structure to give the AI some specifics. And we've got one agent that only does lead magnet posts, so much better than actually having like 1,000 and a million different things. So we've got that, which is cool. Then we realistically, in the prompt here, we've got that. We want to add in just users information right at the bottom, right? So let's come over here. All right, cool. And then we've got that as an expression. So we're going to come and grab this from the agent, and you might have guessed it. We're going to come down here and let's just full screen, and we can literally just copy and paste this information here. Bam. All right, cool. So we come down here to lead magnet, come down here to the bottom. Actually, where do we have it? We had it near the top right. So let's come up here. There we go. Sweet. And it'll do like that. Cool. And then for memory, guys, we can actually store this in Supabase as well. So I click onto memory. I click on Postgres chat memory like so. And then what we want to do is head over to our Supabase real quick. If you come back over to Supabase, guys, on the left-hand side, click on Project Settings, click on Connect over here, and you got this information here. Click on, instead of URI, click on, I think it's PSQL that you want. Right, cool. And then you're going to come down here, and you see this session pooler. Click on View Parameters, like so. Cool. Then come back over to NA10. And the reason we do this, by the way, is because the memory storage is freaking insane. So we're going to create a new credential. I'm going to come down here to create a new credential. And then we just basically fill this information. So we've got host, which we'll copy right there. Beautiful. Come back over. And I think that has picked it up. Cool. Database, Postgres, user Postgres. Database Postgres user is this one right here, which is cool. Fantastic. We need a password, which we'll come to in a second. And then port is 5432 on this one. Does that let us actually enable the port? Where's the port information on this one? We go right at the bottom. Cool. 5432. Cool. Then we need the password. So if you don't know the password, Superbase knows this. You can click on database settings right here, for example, and click on reset database password, because this happens so often. Click a random generate password. I'm just going to copy that, reset it, and that'll work perfectly for us, which is great. Cool. And this basically means we can even store the conversation history in the memory in freaking Superbase, which is amazing. So then we come back over, enter this as the password. Come up here and just put, I don't know, Jack Roberts, or JR, as we say, and click on save. Give that a second. Credential created successfully. That is code, guys, for really good freaking news. And now we've got the mega elephant. Look how powerful this elephant is. I love it. All right, cool. And then we want to give memory to everybody, so we're all connected now to the same guy, which is cool. I've just taken you from zero to hero with this stuff, by the way, guys. It is freaking crazy. Cool. Now what we can do is basically ask it a question, test it. So we've got a personal storage agent call. So let's do one thing. Let's save this workflow. Let's unpin the data, okay? Unpin. Beautiful. And then I'm going to execute the workflow. I'm going to come over to this, and I'm actually going to give it some information for a second, okay? So let me just give it some fake information. Okay, so I've helped Coca-Cola, I've helped launch MMA campaigns, so we are on it, we're kicking butt. Let me just do some stuff on niche. I help drink companies crush it and build incredible, delicious drinks and scale their revenue beyond $1 million a month. They are struggling to compete with Pepsi Max and the Pepsi Max tyranny. Cool, and then we'll go for this one. My niche wants to sell their drinks, get their drinks out into the world and do incredible MMA stuff. I mean, like, imagine if this was a real thing, which is crazy. So again, I'm just saving all this stuff. This is crazy. A transformation build for our niche. We help them go from being unprofitable, stuck at 10 to 20K a month, scaling up to over 6 figures a month plus, which is exactly what we do in a beautiful accelerator. How do you do that transformation? We build AI operating systems that help them to grow their business and crush it. We identify the biggest constraining factor, and then we work with them one-to-one and in a group setting to crush that. Cool. And then we've got Journey, which is about you and your background. So for example, I quit my day job to begin my own startup. I was working evenings or weekends. I then replaced my entire income, and then I went on to grow that business and even sell that business and turn it into a top 100 UK startup. And I've helped Coca-Cola crush it in many different ways. Obviously, like, all that's true apart from the Coca-Cola part. The Coca-Cola can get help if they want it. So we've saved all that stuff. Now, let's go over to our beautiful chat here. And what we're going to do is send it a question, okay? So this is now running in the background. So what I'm doing first, guys, is refreshing it to make sure that it's actually saved my information. And look, everything's completely saved as it was to before. So we come now over to LinkedIn, and let's just give it a post like, hey, I would like you to create me a lead magnet for a piece of content I'm doing, which is basically why 99% of drinks manufacturers are not creating the right kind of content. Make it about something about they're not thinking about customers enough, they're trying to be pushing their PR brand. And then the lead magnet I want to push on this is a how to get customers one-on-one guide. Completely wild, crazy post. I'm just doing this to kind of show you how it works, okay? So we'd send that off, in reality it'd be something different. This then comes through. Okay, so we need to get a session ID very quickly. So let's just click on this guy, which is cool. All right, it needs a session ID. So effectively, what we're going to be using for the session ID, so actually, if you come on the left, guys, and you just type in UID, I think it is, in the webhook, you see session UID. So this basically helps the memory know what the thing is. So we click on this, and then on this, we're going to come down. We're going to go for define below. Click on this. Expression is cool. Context window length, 100. That's fine. Cool. And then actually it's going to save everything in NA10 chat histories. How cool is that? Beautiful. So let's give it this prompt real quick. All right. So I've just re-entered the prompt that we just gave it. I enter this one over. I come back over to NA10 and look at this AI agent is now deciding, and he will send it through to the lead magnet agent, as you can see. And look at him working in the background. Incredible. He's creating the lead magnet. Then he's going to send it straight back into the webhook for us. Look at it, engage in the Postgres chat memory. What I'm also going to do right now, guys, is actually check that we are seeing the NA10 chat histories over here. So let's have a quick look over here. And guys, look at this. You can see in the schema visualizer, we've got NA10 chat history. So we're already seeing this information come through. And if you click on tables, we can see here, I click on this, I click on view in table editor. And if I expand this, you can see here, look at this. Hey, I would like you to create me a lead magnet piece of content, blah, blah, blah. So all the chat history with the session ID is being stored now, which is crazy. And guys, just like that, we've got the whole thing here. Struggling to get traction with your drinks brand. Here's the hard truth. 99% of drinks manufacturers fail to connect because they obsess over pushing the PR brand instead of truly understanding their customers. Look at this. I've seen this firsthand, helping Coca-Cola skyrocket from 89,000 a month to 1.26 million. It has literally built me a post based on all the information that I gave it. Now, the only thing I need to do here is just basically change it so we're getting the information as plain text. And to do that, I just come here and say, hey, when I'm receiving information back from the webhook, I'm getting it in JSON format. Please convert that to text and add paragraphs also. Okay, sweet. Send that one over, right? Let that load in. This is an example of what I got. Cool, so I've just posted, guys, an example of what I've got and told to change to plain text. Also, give me the ability to one-click copy any message that I get back. Sweet, we send this one off. That will update it for us. And if I come back over here, guys, what I'm gonna do here very quickly is I'm just gonna pin this just so we can run this real quick. Come down, pin. Come over here, pin, beautiful, and so respond to webhook, fantastic, and we'll just pin this too, awesome. Then come down, I'm gonna execute the workflow. So come back over to Bolt, that's worked. I'm gonna publish this real quick, let's update it, and then let's send the information over just so we can see it in its beautiful fashion. And this brings us on to step 5, which is D for design. Now, design is the thing that makes it look like magic. The idea is don't make me think, make it look beautiful and epic. And things like making sure the text comes out with paragraphs and stuff can take you from looking like an amateur hour to something that really has taken hundreds of thousands of dollars to build. All right, guys, so I've just triggered the workflow. I'm gonna come back over to our systems, come down to LinkedIn, and I'm just gonna put test because I've hard-coded all the information, but check it out. I put test, and look at this, guys. It's all there. Look at this, how crazy. It's struggling to get real traction with your drinks brand. Here's the hard truth, 99%, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff down here is crazy based on everything that we said. Click copy, comment customers below, and I'll send you a free guide. And guys, just like that, you've built this entire cool, freaking crazy thing. So the last thing to do now is literally just to design. What I personally like to do with this stuff, guys, is really think about the structure and the layout. So I quite like this thing on the left and thing on the right. It's quite a standard uniform UI, but one way that we could improve this is really leveling up the chat interface. So to do that, I'm gonna zip back over now to Code UI, and I'm gonna really copy this and come over to Bolt. Hey, I would really like you to improve the design of the chat interface. Please explicitly follow the below code. Increase the height and the width of it. I would like loading animations. I would like some commentary whilst waiting for a response from the webhook. That could be something like grabbing a coffee, working hard, thinking about it. Let's give a profile photo to both me and the AI in each message, kind of like WhatsApp, so we can see exactly what's happening. Please utilize the below code. Beautiful, so it's completed that. I come down to LinkedIn and you can see if I send it a message, we should get some information. Now, what's interesting here is that you can go really far with this. For example, this is an example one I built with this beautiful phantasmagoric background, has the agent, and you can copy the information. You can design this in any way that you want to. Once you've built the functionality first, design is the next priority. Now, the next thing to do is practice building these AI operating systems, and you can learn to do that in this video on screen.